was to defend the Constitution. And right now, literally at this moment, that Constitution is under the most direct and consequential assault in our nation's history. And how we respond to it will define our life's work, our place in history, and the future of our country. None of us will ever face a greater challenge.
Independent Senator from Maine Angus King on the Senate floor this week laying out what is at stake as Donald Trump begins his second term. So let's talk about the people who are standing up to this administration. The nightcap is still with us. Anthony, we saw this week Ellen Weintraub. We were talking about it during commercial break, and Paul said, here's the issue. The American people don't know who she is. But who she is the chairwoman of the Federal Election Commission. She refused to leave her job after Donald Trump tried to remove her, and she said he didn't do it legally. She's going to fight it. How important is it for people like Ellen to stand up and say, I'm not leaving?
That's exactly the playbook that should be followed. You don't have the authority to do this. There are ways to remove me from my job. I don't have a job for life. But to say, no, you don't have the legal authority to do this. I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to take me, dragging at me out of this office. That's the move.
Should we put our hope or our faith in the courts? Because thus far, besides an Ellen Weintraub saying, hell no, I won't go, we are seeing at least pauses from the court saying, you don't have the power to do this. I mean, think birthright citizenship. What, he tried to do it day one? Yeah. And they said, take a hike.
Knocked it down because it was such an absurd one. And I don't know, should we? Yeah, we kind of have to. There's not a lot of other recourse we've got. And I think, the courts will do the right thing most of the time and sometimes not. One of the problems, though, is that if you're Trump, if you're Musk, whatever, just throw 1,000 cases at the courts and know that if you win 20% of them, your power is still much greater than it was before you brought any of those cases. So I think that's the game.
I also think from the general public's perspective, does anyone believe we're actually in a constitutional crisis right now? I mean, from a real public opinion standpoint.
This is an awesome point.
Do people feel? Do they think that this is? Yeah. Do they think this is really happening? Is it a constitutional crisis that endangers a democratic form of government, a representative form of government in the United States? Do people believe it? Are they motivated? Are they animated?
Most likely, the people who believe it are people who already did not vote for Donald Trump, despised him, and thought he was a threat to democracy. But do any additional people think that?
I think for a lot of people that sounded like word salad coming from the Democratic Party. Yeah. It just sounds too complicated. I think, no, you can't depend on the courts because the Republicans planned ahead and they've got that locked up, too, at the Supreme Court, too. So I'm not counting on, on Justice Thomas or anybody else. But I do think you're cutting to a larger point. America is starved for leadership. And whether it's, Ellen Weintraub or it's Angus King, I don't think it's going to be an 80-year-old, senator from Maine. But everybody is starved for a voice that will come and punch back and hit Trump. And I think they're looking for new voices. And I don't know where they're going to emerge, but I'm looking at the FBI right now because that might be the next line of defense. We know that General Milley was an example last time at the Department of Defense. New leaders are going to rise, and I think America is starving for them and looking for them right now.
Hold on. You said something interesting. You said America is looking for someone to punch back. And I'm feeling all night that you're angry with Democrats. I'm feeling like you're angry with Democrats. Hold on.
That's not news.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But that they're sort of scattered all over the place. And do you think part of it is Democrats' insistence on being so careful and so inclusive and making sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted, they're missing the opportunity to punch between the eyes, which is the only thing that they can do right now?
I think the bottom line is that Democrats won't save us. They didn't save us in the election. They haven't saved us over the last couple of years, and we can't put all our eggs in that basket. We need alternate strategies. That's why I support independent candidates. That's why I'm supporting independent voices. We need activists. We need people from within. And we can't just sit here and wait for the Democrats to all of a sudden start winning, put together a strategy, identify a leader, because Trump's rolling. I think the hope I have is in the American people and new leadership rising up who can challenge him in every way, shape, or form.
Baby boy, what does that look like?
I think it looks
like I hear you,
did you
but
just say that?
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, and then I'm like, but what? Like literally,
think
when
about
I
how many
eyes,
people
yes.
the country has looked, especially the left, has looked for, whether it was Mueller or Jack Smith or Tish James. Like there's so many people that the country is looking for to rise. I mean, we've had pieces of it. I think AOC has glimpses of it at times. She's very dynamic. She's all over the culture. You and I have talked about Wes Moore. I think he's a powerful, positive voice that can push back. But nobody's really coalesced around leadership yet, and I think that's starting to happen, especially especially in the streets and in the grassroots where it always comes from.
It can be elected. It doesn't have to be elected. But yeah, I would really like to see people just stepping up and taking shots. And what's good is that with social media, like, you don't have to get booked on TV to do it.
This is a great point. Anthony, what do you think?
I don't think that we need somebody like a Barack Obama, some like generational transformative figure, but at the very least, Barack Obama's political rise was in opposition to something that was a big mistake, that was a disaster for the country, was broadly unpopular. Somebody needs to find whatever that one thing is that we could all agree on.
Okay, but then answer this, right? So after Trump won, there was exhaustion. Right, even on Inauguration Day, last time around, right after the inauguration, people took to the streets. That didn't happen now. People were tired, they were defeated, they were exhausted. But here we are 2 weeks in, and you're starting to see people say, hell no, this isn't going to happen. So things are starting to a little bit.
But you really, and I'll take issue with here with respect to Barack Obama.
Yeah, you're the new guy. Take issue with him.
Yeah, you knew. You haven't been here nearly the 3 times that I have.
I get broken in.
No. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, George Bush, Mark Milley. You know, pick a whole host of highly respected former presidents, former military officers, if indeed they're inclined to do this, which they have not shown to be leading up to the election.
Really?
I know,
Really?
I know, but this is how else do you get people's attention? I mean, you need the most famous, the most powerful, the most moving figures in recent history if you are looking for some leadership among the opposition to stand up and say something together. Not just an offhanded.
And you don't think the American people are going to say we're done with elites? Wasn't that?
I don't know about that. Not those people. Not necessarily. There's some that they would say that about, but I think if they spoke with one voice,
I think they're looking for courage. They're looking for courage, not partisanship. I mean, look at someone like Colonel Vindman when he stepped forward, like widely celebrated. Even somebody going back to the Iraq War like Cindy Sheehan. They're looking for courageous people to step forward and speak truth about what this country is facing and in opposition to Trump. And I do think every week we're going to see more and more of them start to rise.
And a good story, like a narrative that is exciting to them.